Good day and welcome. I'm John and today I'm back again with a new review of another very enjoyable flavor. So this is custard from Inawera. Naturally, being a custard flavor, it makes this a fairly popular flavor since a lot of people out there are searching for their best next custard for DIY. So anything with custard in the name seems to be doing very well. Now, undeniably, this is a good flavor indeed and deserves a deeper look. Now, since I have been making fewer videos lately, I decided to make the videos now slightly longer with some additional details. So today I will talk about the flavor, ratios of use, steeping, nicotine levels, and finally show you a nice recipe, all in this order. And starting first with the taste. This is a very good and realistic custard with a good amount of butter, cream, and egg. As a flavor, it is very similar to the Capella Vanilla Custard one. Both have a complete and balanced custard taste and work very well even solo. The Inawera custard I find is as good with an even richer cream profile, but with much less vanilla taste. It is a slightly thicker flavor than the Capella one and also more concentrated. But in general, the Inawera custard will be up there as one of the best custards to own for DIY. You don't have to rush to get it or anything, but if you're looking for a different or a new custard to try, this one won't definitely disappoint you. Now, moving next to the ratios. As I mentioned earlier, this is a relatively strong and concentrated flavor. You won't need to use much of it, and in other recipes, you will never see it being used higher than 10%, and even that high, it seems too much, unlike the higher ratios that the vanilla custard from Capella will need. For the Inawera custard, a little will go a long way. So saying that, if you want to mix it solo, or just with some sweetener, you can use it alone from 2 up to 4%, and that will have a good enough taste. At 4%, it will still have enough flavor similar to a 9 or 10% of Capella Vanilla Custard. Now, if you want to make something stronger with more flavor, you can use it again from 4 up to 6%, where I find is the maximum someone should go with this flavor before it starts to get a chemical taste. Now, the most common use for this flavor will obviously be in a recipe, and here are some ratios for that kind of use. For a custard e-liquid, use it as the base from 3 up to 4%. You could go higher, of course, but I find that around 4% of flavor is enough to start creating a rich custard profile in many recipes. In any case, if you want to use it as an accent or together with another custard, then usually 1 to 2% of flavor will be enough for that without starting to interfere with the rest of your flavors in the recipe. Next is the steeping, and one of the strengths of this particular custard. Instead of the usual long steeping that most custards and cream require, this one can usually be ready within 1 week. By that time, it would have matured and blended enough to be vaporable and good to enjoy. So, as a general guide, I recommend 4 to 5 days for a quick steep, 7 to 10 days for a normal steep, and around 14 days or 2 weeks for a long and deep steep if you want to let it mellow out even further. After steeping, I want to talk quickly about nicotine concentration. With this flavor, I usually try to stay below 8 milligrams per milliliter. I find that any higher than that and some bitterness from the nicotine starts to show up inside the flavor. The ideal ratio is around 4 to 5 milligrams for the best nicotine delivery and 1 to 2 milligrams for the best balance of flavor and delivery. And now moving last to the recipe I prepared using this flavor. You could also recreate this e-liquid using Capella Vanilla Custard at 9%. So here is the recipe for you. Other than the custard, there's also vanilla shisha to add a slight amount of vanilla and cream that pairs well with the custard, since both flavors are from the same company and work well. The fresh cream from Flavor is a nice and neutral cream which won't introduce any other side flavors to this custard and only help to boost the cream flavor higher. And then in the end, there's Biscuit from Inawera again, just add 1% for the base, or 0.5% of acetyl pyrazine would also work fine here too if you don't have Biscuit. In general, this is a low ratio of total flavor, just at 8%, but this e-liquid will have enough taste and flavor to vape with a nice and rich taste. Only after a short steep of 1 week, you will have a nice custard to vape on with a lot of cream and good balance. It is a smooth e-liquid that should appeal to most custard enthusiasts. Now, hopefully you made it all the way to the end. Leave any of your thoughts or recipes you might have for Inawera custard below. Happy to see you here once more, and I will try my best to be back soon again with a new video.